I had a huge technical issue when I I spilled my water for our ritual on my mixing board just like 10 minutes ago. And so I wasn't sure if it was going to work. So it's been a little crazy over here. So I'm trying to arrive. So welcome. I'm so happy to be here with all of you. Thank you for letting me know about the sound. I'm really glad because I got a sign on my board that something was wrong with the sound and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do this session. So thank goodness. So welcome. It's so great to see all of you. Oh, thanks. That's so sweet. I want to make sure that you have your water. Do you have your water? Water. Just have some water with you. It doesn't matter what kind of vessel it's in. I mean, glass or ceramic is probably better than plastic, but it doesn't matter. Just have some water and don't drink this water until we do the ritual. This is just the water for that, not just like drinking water. So you can just get it and just place it somewhere to the side. I gotta keep it far away from my board. So it's really great to be with you. I absolutely love doing these sessions. So I usually do for a year. I've been doing equinox and solstice programs for like about 10 years now. And it's been really wonderful to be able to do them here on the app since the pandemic, just to keep that tradition going. For me personally, I just love to take the time to honor these really important portals that are happening on Earth that people around the world have been honoring for thousands of years, the equinoxes and the solstices, these cosmic alignments. Today is not actually the solstice. The solstice is on Tuesday, 21st at 11:57 a.m., I think. So yeah, at 11:57. So just be aware of that and you can acknowledge it in whatever way works for you on that day. But I usually do my programs on Sunday, so that's why we're doing it today. So it's so great to be with all of you. And if you haven't been to one of my sessions before, my name is Carrie, and I am a devotional singer, and I love all of the spiritual traditions of the world, which I've been studying for a long time. I love to weave the wisdom of those traditions together with music. To me, music is like the thread that ties everything together, and that is the thread that unites our hearts beyond language, beyond belief system. It's just the language of the heart. So today we'll be using all of these different tools to talk about this beautiful solstice and then to practice together with this ritual that I've designed over the years. So I always like to begin with my invocation. And as I always say, it's just a way of acknowledging that we're here. We've come together from all over the world, which is a really beautiful thing to honor this very auspicious time, which happens all over the world. The solstice isn't just in one country, it's all over the world. And obviously it's different in the Southern hemisphere and the Northern. I'll talk about that, but it's just a potent moment. So the invocation is a way of saying we're entering this time together and it's really special time. Kind of stepping out of the ordinary way of being and recognizing that this human life is a mystery, a sacred mystery. And if we slow down, we can sense that mystery, we can experience it. So let us do that. So there's nothing at all you have to do. Just relax and try to gather your energy. You know, when you listen to the invocation, just imagine that you're just gathering all your energy. You know, our energy is usually flung out all over the place. So just gather it to yourself and just try to bring body and mind together. And we'll do that during the ritual too, but this is an opportunity to just start with that. Snigdhan pangavidhokinim bhagavati Handasmida Srimukhi Vatsayam Tarchinim Sumaturam Sankirtanalapini Shyamangim Madhusita Sute Amritanandotmika Ishwari Om Amriteshwari Namah Om Amriteshwari Namah Om Amriteshwari Namah Ananta samsara samudratara Naukayitaviyam Guru Bhakti Davyam Airagisam Anjata Pujanaviyam Namo Namo Shri Guru Padukabhyam Namo Namo Shri Guru Padukabhyam Namo Namo Shri Guru Padukabhyam Namo 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 Thank you. So today we are here to honor the solstice. And in the Northern Hemisphere, which is where I live, this is the winter solstice. And in the Southern Hemisphere, it's the summer solstice. We are in this cyclical situation, right? And it's absolutely fascinating. Wow, there's a mountain behind my house and there's this really beautiful band of light on the mountain. I wish I could show it to you. Anyway, so I'm going to focus the theme of this session on the Northern Hemisphere. And for those in the Southern Hemisphere, you can work with the themes in the way that are speaking to you right now. And, here we're moving towards the darkest day of the year, the longest night. We have the least light. And obviously down south, they have the fullest expression of light. So we are trading places. And I think it's a really interesting thing. So when the solstice happens, so the solstice is really about, how the poles are tilting towards the sun. So in the northern hemisphere, when we're moving towards like the winter solstice, then the North Pole is the farthest from the sun, and vice versa. In the southern hemisphere, they're closest to the sun. That's why they have the most light right now. So every day until we get to the 21st, it's going to get darker and darker. And then right after the solstice, then the light begins to return. And so I feel like nature to me is such an amazing teacher. Nature is a powerful guru. Everything we need to know, all of the scriptures, I think, are contained in nature herself. And the fact that, these cycles are happening, I think are very, very beautiful reminders and teachings for our own life. And I was thinking about it just for myself the last couple of days. These have just been such dark times. I think our whole world is really going through a dark night of the soul. And we're kind of entering this difficult wave again in some places, and just these times of uncertainty and unknowns. And, when it really feels like there's just darkness shrouding everywhere, we don't know, what's coming. To me, nature is a reminder that the darkness the light is always hidden within it. It always is coming, right behind it. There's a beautiful passage I'll read you from Osho. He talks about that. But as soon as we hit the darkest moment, when we have the least amount of light, is right when the light returns. And often in our own lives, when we get to this place where we're hitting the darkest times, is often when there's a return of the light. Sometimes I say, I found in my own life, sometimes when I hit the bottom opens to a sky. What we think is the bottom is sometimes the big opening. So we have to just keep that little flame alive in our hearts, even when it feels hard, to have that, possibility and that hope, to remember, you can't stop the light from coming. We can't stop the light from coming. So no, we're moving towards this darkness. And then as soon as it's past, and the light is just going to start returning. We can't stop that process. And in that same way, the light wants to return into our lives, and we go through these different cycles. And I think it's just a really good thing to remember, that sometimes when it seems like it's the darkest is right when things are about to open or to change. I like to think and pray that that's the case for our planet, because we're really hitting some dark times. I like to believe that there's some light hidden within that, at least the possibility of our consciousness to awaken from the pressure of this dark times. This time on earth is like a pressure cooker. I think in general, there tends to be, the whole love and light thing. Obviously, love and light is the foundation of our existence. Love, our whole being is really made of light. When you start learning about biophotons, it gets out there. It's really interesting. And love is everything. But I think being in this dualistic world we're living in, we don't want to deny or push away darkness. Darkness is actually essential. If there was no darkness, none of us would be here. We all began in darkness. We all emerged and formed our being in darkness. In the same way, everything we eat that comes out of the ground began underground in the darkness. And so we tend to always glorify the things that are shiny and out in the light, and we forget the processes that are often happening, underground, invisibly. And the same is true for us on our own journey. A lot of times, at least I've found, it may feel like nothing's happening, but we don't actually know that that's the case. We can't always judge. We can't ever often really judge our own progress, whatever that means. But to be able to see, putting in all of this work doing practices or working on our being and feeling like, oh, nothing's changing, I'm just in the same patterns, everything's still the same. But it's not true. Every moment that we put towards our own awakening in that way does make a difference. And it's just like a seed when it goes underground. You don't just put a seed and then all of a sudden just comes out into the light like a flower or a fruit. It has to go down into the earth, and it has to, put roots down there. A tree, as many branches as it has a vast root system that allows it to, that supports it so that it can stand tall and shine in the sun. But it equally is rooted in that darkness. So I think it's really very beneficial to remember about the power of darkness. And in these days, I find it kind of strange sometimes because, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, we're moving towards winter. And if you look at nature, it's a time of slowing down, of turning within, of resting. Like, look at the animals. They're not partying. They're in their little caves. The bears are hibernating. All the little animals are just resting. And this time of year, it's this kind of madness, consumer, like buy everything, lights, do this, it's festive. And that's fine, but it's in a way is kind of not moving with the rhythms of what our being is wanting at this time, because that the cold, well, not everybody is having cold. Some people in the Northern Hemisphere have warmth, but just the energy of the season is more reflective and inward turning. So I think it's important to just listen to ourselves, to honor that. We don't always have to push, and try to, run after all the things that society is telling us that we need to run after, which most of the time don't really fulfill us at all. Maybe a little bit, but not a lasting happiness. So it's a time for rest and for turning within, listening to ourselves and being quiet. And that time is what creates the root system so that when the light returns, those seeds can come out of the earth without having to force anything and without being premature. They can come out when they're ready because there's a structure to support them, if that makes sense. I think also I did a session once on Insight Timer called The Holy Darkness. Maybe some of you came to that. And I don't want to go too into all those themes because, I could just go off on a huge tangent. But I think in general, especially at this time in the world, I feel like, everything is a mirror reflection. And so what we see happening in the world is so much a reflection of what is going on internally for many people. So there's like this collective mayhem, and then at least everybody that I know, what I witness is everybody has their own personal kind of circumstances that they're dealing with, personal struggles or ways that we're all individually trying to kind of break free from certain things or heal wounds in our hearts or whatever it may be for each person. I think it's important to remember that on the spiritual journey, which is, to me, it's just life. It's just a human journey. It's not like spiritual journey is like separate from being a human being. It's just being alive. We call it the spiritual journey when it's something that we like consciously become aware of, but everybody in a physical form, a human form is on a spiritual journey, in my opinion. But on this journey, we feel like we want light. We want to wake up. I want my heart to open. I want to be calm. I want to be, inspired. I want to be all these different things. But a lot of the time when we turn within, that's not what happens. I don't know about you, but if I sit down on my meditation cushion, it's not that pretty. At least once in a while, there's like a calm that comes. But a lot of time, at least at first, turning within means looking at the stuff that I have not wanted to look at, because the world will just naturally just pull us away from ourselves. That's just the nature of the world. That's just the nature of life. Everything is like, dangling like a little carrot in front of us and saying like, hey, come here. This is your happiness over here. No, this is going to make you happy. This thing's going to make you happy. All of that. And so our mind is constantly going out. That's why, in a way, yoga is the path of yoga, and there are many different paths that lead to the same ocean, but yoga itself is like an inward turning. It turns us within like a turtle coming back inside. And when we turn within, sometimes we have to see things and meet things that we would prefer not to. You know, sometimes people refer to it as like shadow work, but it's not like our shadow is like some big boogeyman that, you know, wants to take us down. Our shadow is the parts of ourselves that we've fractured from our being, that we've divided, that we've cast off. You know, maybe when we were young, we got certain messages telling us that certain aspects of us weren't acceptable. So in order to survive, we said, okay, those things are not good. Go in the closet. You stay in the closet. And then at a certain point, we realized, well, it's not working very well for me to put certain parts of myself away in a closet when those are parts of my being. So if we want to be whole, we have to reclaim those parts that we've orphaned and pushed away. And so meditation, and there are infinite types of meditation and so many types of spiritual practice, gives us the tools to go back to those places that we've pushed away, to those parts that we've abandoned, say, come back. You know, it's safe for you to come back. And we create a home and a refuge for all of us to exist in a space of love and acceptance. Obviously, that's a lifelong journey, but I think to honor the darkness, to honor the things that we pushed away in the darkness, because often those things are these tender parts of ourselves, you know, our certain emotions or our sensitivities, you know, that we don't need to look at those things and castigate them and think that they're awful. They're a part of us. So to learn to love and embrace what we may consider like the darkness of our being, to see that that also contains the seed of light. It contains the seed of healing. I think many of you know, who've come to these programs that I've done, that I've studied for a number of years with the Teyuna shamans, who are the medicine men and women are known as Mamos and Zagas, and they live in the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta in Colombia. And I won't say too much about them because I know I've talked about this before, but the Mamos, who are the male shamans, some of them, there's 4 main tribes that comprise the Teyuna, and they have very distinct traditions and lineages and clothing and all this different stuff, languages, but they're all united as one. And their work is to really bring healing to Mother Earth. That's what they're here for. Mother Earth is not separate from any of us. But the male Mamos from some traditions, like the Kogi tribe, some of them spend the first 9 to 18 years of their lives in darkness. Literally, when they're born, they're taken to a dark like cave or something, and the mother will come and you know, breastfeed them or feed them when they're in there, and the elder Mamos, the elder shamans, will teach them, you know, in the darkness. And when they're in the darkness, they're learning to attune their consciousness to what they call a luna. A luna is, these things don't really have Western language, is very limited, but the consciousness of the earth, the consciousness of the divine. I'm posing that word on it, but just so we understand, like this beautiful supreme consciousness known by many names, they attune themselves to that in the darkness, so that when they emerge, they have such a deep understanding and connection with the earth that literally they can communicate with anything in nature. I mean, I've seen it many times because I spent a lot of time with them, and just watching them, you know, read rocks like they're reading like a library, like a book. They can read, they can communicate with bodies of water, with trees. The understanding that they have of nature is beyond, I've never seen anything like it before. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And I feel so grateful for what I've learned and continue to learn from them. And one of the most important things that I've learned from them is how I've kind of divorced myself, how many of us have divorced ourselves from our source, you know, of our being, which is nature. We refer to nature like something, you know, over there. I'm going to go into nature. I'm going to go, let's get out in nature. You know, it's like over there, but like this is nature. Like nature is also this. Nature is our being. Nature is, we are, the earth is like going on here, you know, water is going on here, fire, air, all of it. So to recognize that and remember the sacredness of this planet, I think is so, so, so essential. And that's one reason why I love to take the time to honor the solstices and the equinoxes, because there are moments of these cosmic alignments. And like I said at the beginning, civilizations all over the world have been acknowledging these times for so long. That's why there are sacred structures built all over the world that are actually built so that they have an alignment with these moments in time. You know, for example, like this one of the sphinxes, you know, at the pyramids, that the light shines right on it, the sun is right over it, exactly at the solstice or the equinox. Same in Machu Picchu, the light comes through. I mean, it's just absolutely mind-blowing when you really start to think about how these structures were created by people thousands of years ago with such perfection that whenever the equinox or solstice happens, there's like an illumination, or there's something that happens in these structures that's in harmony with that. It's amazing. To me, that says there's something about these moments in time that are really important, that if we could tap into them, we could access something, we could awaken something, we could deepen our connection to the cosmos, you know, and not just like spend all of our life looking into like a gadget. I think most of the time, you know, it's like we're a floating head with like gadgets coming out our ears, like no awareness at all that we're like part of a greater situation here. And there's things going on. There's things going on. There's solar flares coming off of the sun that have an effect on us down here on Earth. You know, there's storms on the Earth. We don't even really think about how the glaciers, support our life on Earth. You know, we don't think about like how all these things are interconnected, but I just read last night something about how, you know, many of the glaciers in the Antarctica are melting just faster than scientists thought. And this is a real problem. You know, once they're melted, what are we going to do? Bring freezers down to Antarctica, try to create glaciers or something? I mean, once they're melted, they're melted. And so we really, really need to remember and recognize, and I think these moments are helpful for that, our interconnectedness with the whole planet and with one another, instead of always thinking like that age of thinking like everything is just separate in parts. I feel like that's just so outdated now. It's like, if anything that the coronavirus has taught us, I think it's that. It started out as a virus in China. And I remember reading about it and reading, oh, there's a virus in China. Thinking, oh, wow, that's so upsetting. I hope that they're able to get that under control, right? Over there. I hope over there in China, they can take care of the virus that they're dealing with. It's not their virus to deal with, it's our world's virus, right? So what we think is just something over there is actually like sweeping over here. It's the same with everything. It's a whole. The same with our body. You know, we tend to think of our body like cut it up into parts, but we're a whole system. We're like a field. And so changing and shifting our understanding of that, that's something so fascinating to me that I'm always learning about. I love reading about it and contemplating it. And I think that sound is a great doorway for that, because sound is vibration and sound can affect matter. That's what the field of cymatics shows. Somebody mentioned in my circle something about cymatics like a month ago. And that's a whole subject in itself. But cymatics is really, really interesting. I mean, it's basically the study of the effect of sound on matter. So this has been going on. These types of experiments and realizations have been happening for thousands of years. Even like Galileo and Vinci were kind of some of the early explorers of these themes of how sound affects matter. So you can read about it. I mean, there's a lot out there. One of the pioneers of this field was named Hans Jenny. And, you know, there are these experiments done with like a steel plate, for example, and they'll put something on the plate, like sand or some kind of substance, and then vibrate it with sound. And then what happens is like it starts to form shapes and structures, and it changes. And it's so interesting. It shows that sound and vibration can actually like change the structure of things. And they've done these experiments on water as well. And so when I first learned about that, it was so interesting because I love music and I love sound. That was one of the things that inspired me to create this water ritual, which people have asked me, where did I learn this? And it's not really something, I didn't really learn this ritual. I didn't learn this ritual from anyone. I just created it over time, drawing on things that I've learned from my teachers, from things that I've experienced myself. And just, it's just something that I created over time. And cymatics is a really interesting piece of it, because if with sound we can change the structure of something, then we can do that to water. And the mamos, the shamans that I work with, they say water has memory, and we can really impact water, not only with sound and vibration, but obviously with intention, with thought, and all of that. If we really understood the power that we have as human beings with our mind, with our thoughts and our energy, we would probably be like completely blown away by ourselves. We use like that much of our potential. We have so much possibility of living in a different reality, where it's really amazing, actually. The possibility of how we can live our lives using our thought with more self-mastery. Most of us are slaves to our mind. I certainly am. Learning to really master thought, or to work with our emotion and our intention. There's a lot of people who talk about this kind of stuff, but like Joe Dispenza, there's so many people. It's just really, really interesting. So the water ritual that we do is about using our mind, our heart, and our intention to shift the molecular structure of something. And also to do that and to see differently, to see what we consider something to be ordinary as extraordinary, as sacred. And then through that blessing, that process of doing that, to actually imbibe our own goodness. We're often, turning it outwards. We don't know how to take it in a lot of the time. So that's part of this practice, is to learn how to imbibe our own blessings for ourselves, our own highest wishes and prayers for ourselves. Is that, again, is like the foundation. Those are the roots that go underground, that allow us to come out and blossom into the light, so that we can share that abundance with others. We have to start at home, in our own self, and to tend to that self with love. And I think that means tending to the darkness, the so-called darkness, all of those parts of ourselves that we want to push away, or that we don't like, whatever they may be. My last session was on jealousy. That's one example. We don't want to look at those parts of us, but those parts of us, they want our love. They want our attention and our awareness. So that, to me, is one of the beautiful teachings of the winter solstice, is to just rest in the dark, not have to figure it out, not have to try to produce anything, or to try to craft some perfect identity to present to the world, but just to rest and to let transformation happen invisibly. We don't always have to know everything. We don't always have to see. We can just trust that our own being has an intelligence. And if we put our own heart towards something, we can have faith that placing our heart there, even if we don't see changes happening, that they are inevitably, just like that seed underground. A mother can't see everything going on in her body when there's a baby growing. She feels her belly expanding, but there's a lot going on. The mother doesn't know, oh, my baby just grew 5 fingers, oh, my baby, has eyebrows now. It's not like the mother knows the play-by-play of what's going on. She's just trusting, she's just allowing this being to be formed invisibly. And when it's going to arrive, it's going to arrive. It's not because the mother put it on her calendar, okay, 9 months, this is when the baby's going to come. It very rarely happens that the baby comes exactly when the baby is supposed to come. But we have to trust like a deeper intelligence. And I think that's true for all of us who are birthing ourselves anew over and over again. And we have that opportunity especially at the beginning of a new year, you know. I mean, metaphorically, it's like a way of turning the page. And so when we do this ritual in just 2 minutes, it's an opportunity for you and me, for all of us, to let go of anything from this past year that has felt heavy or that no longer serves, to just say thank you and let go, and to just clear the slate. And that's what we do with the water. When we sing to the water, when we cleanse the water and purify it, it becomes like pure consciousness, like a blank sheet of paper. And on that sheet of paper, we can write anything. We can put anything on that. And then trust, that as we keep focusing on that and keep just planting that intention, into space, whatever you want to call it, that little by little, it will start to come, emerge out of the earth. Maybe not in the time that we think it should, maybe not in the way that we think it should look, and I think that that's an issue I've had in my life, is that sometimes I have an agenda, what I think it's supposed to look like, things are supposed to look like, the timeline that I think things are supposed to happen on. I'm usually pretty disappointed, but actually not disappointed, actually grateful that the way that I wanted things to turn out is not how they turned out, because they turned out better than what my mind thinks is supposed to happen, is what a greater intelligence of life is allowing to happen. If that makes sense. I don't know if that made sense. So we're going to start this ritual in a minute. Thank you for your attention. I just wanted to say that when we really start to look at what's happening on this planet, it can be pretty overwhelming. Really just deeply overwhelming. And obviously we need to learn how to live in a better way, with more harmony on this earth and within ourselves, and do all of the things, live with a smaller footprint, or be more conscious about how we consume, and all of that. But I think fundamentally, even before any of that, what we really need is a shift in consciousness. It's just like that famous phrase, you can't change a problem with the same consciousness that created it. And I think that that is so true when it comes to this planet that we're living on. If we continue to see this planet as something that is just here to fulfill our own greed, that is just a vending machine, just click and just you get whatever you want, that we can just pillage and extract from this earth, then we're never really going to make change. We fundamentally, I think, have to change our vision, recognize that this planet is actually alive. It's a being, it's a system, and we are a part of it, and it's sacred, and it has so many mysteries and so many secrets for us, these beautiful secrets about how to live our life, about how to be happy. If we could just actually listen and honor nature and let her love us and love her back, and let that be a relationship of mutual reciprocity. One-sided relationships, they don't work that well. Eventually things go awry. If you're always just giving and the other person is just taking and there's no exchange, that sucks, it's not fulfilling. It's not that kind of relationship. After a while, it doesn't feel good. And so in the same way, it's like, in a way, we're having that relationship with Mother Earth. We're just taking from her whatever we want. What are we giving back to her? I feel like in some small way, when we gather together like this, we're giving something back to her, because first of all, we're acknowledging her. And when a person is hurt, when someone is suffering, what really we need is to just be seen, to be witnessed, to be heard and acknowledged. I'll just tell you this short, brief story that I've told before about when I was with the Mamos once at Omega. Some of you know Omega, it's a big retreat center. They have a big lake there. And the lake was closed because there was this algae growing on it, and nobody could swim in it during the summer. And so we went down there once with the mamos, and I was thinking, the lake is sick. She's sick, something's wrong with her. That's probably why she has all that algae. And we sat there for a really long time, over an hour. They were like communicating with the lake. And then they explained that she wasn't actually sick, that she was angry. She was angry and hurt. She's a really sacred lake. And nobody had been honoring her sacredness for such a long time. And eventually she just felt like nobody saw her. Nobody cared about her. And she was just invisible. So because she hurt from that, she just covered herself with this algae. She just protected herself. Haven't you ever done that? If you feel hurt, it's like, don't go away, go away. Don't look at me. I'm covering myself. We hide. So that's what the lake was doing. And when they shared that, it just blew my mind, thinking about the consciousness of these bodies of water, or these trees or rocks, that they want our acknowledgement. So today we acknowledge water. And I like to think that when we do this, that we can extend our intention of the practice to all the waters of the earth, and including the waters in our own body. And if, matter can be changed through sound, if sound and vibration can have an effect on matter, that's a really important thing. That means our thought forms, which are vibrations, our emotions, which are vibrations, the things we say, the things we think, they have an effect on us, and they have an effect on the world. One of the things that there was a beautiful Zaga, one of the female shamans, Zaga Josefina, I just love her so much. And, she said, it's really important to be mindful of your emotions, because when our emotions are always negative, it's like we're polluting, like the field, the planet. So one way to be good stewards of the earth is to be mindful of all of those things, not just what we're, disposing of onto the planet, but like what we're disposing of, so to speak, with our consciousness. And that's a tough one, because it's so easy to habitually just stay in these negative states. We come together in a community like this, we give each other the strength to try to raise up our consciousness and focus on the best, most beautiful aspects of our humanity, because they're always there. We just forget them. So this is about remembrance. So we're going to start the practice now. That is a beautiful comment, Liz. Thank you. It is a really hard time of year for many, many people. So I hope that you can use this time, this practice, in whatever way you need for yourself. I'm just offering this as a guide, but you always have to take it and make it your own. You don't have to, but I recommend that. There's no script. You don't have to buy into anything. Just take what I'm offering and make it authentic to you in whatever way feels like the right thing. Okay, so we're going to begin now. Take a moment to just let go of everything I said. And we're going to focus on the practice now, which is where it all really matters, not just in the little words. So let yourself be in a place, if you can, where you won't be disturbed. So we can just take this next 40 minutes or so to do this. And the way that this practice works is it has just a flow, purification first, so that we can just let go, ground ourselves here, and then we'll move in, we'll sing to the water. We're going to sing a mantra to the water, Om Namah Shivaya. Somebody can write it if you want to. Om Namah Shivaya is a Sanskrit mantra to Shiva, and Shiva has many meanings and many interpretations. Shiva has a form, but Shiva is also the formless consciousness, like the backdrop of everything, like the screen that the movie is projected onto. It doesn't get affected by whatever gets projected onto it, right? In a movie theater, it could be a storm, there could be a fire, but the screen doesn't get burned up or washed away. So in that same way, that consciousness, that awareness, we could say is Shiva. So when we say Om Namah Shivaya, Nama is that we're honoring, we're bowing down, we're acknowledging like the power of that consciousness that also lives in all of us. It lives in me, it lives in you. That's why in some places, in India, you might hear people saying Om Namah Shivaya as a greeting. And I honor the Shiva in you, that light, that consciousness, that's who you really are. I honor that. So when we sing that to the water, first we're cleansing the water, we're purifying the water. And at the same time, we're kind of recognizing that this water is pure consciousness, is just pure awareness with no imprints. And it's just an open space for us to put in it our own heart prayers and intentions for ourselves or for anything, for the world. It could be anything. So that's why we sing Om Namah Shivaya. And then we'll bless our water after we do that process. So let's start now. So we're gonna turn inside. The first piece that I use for this is, I mentioned before, from a group called One Tribe in Perth, Australia. And they very kindly gave me permission to use this piece in the ritual. It's just a drum that may be hard to hear on your end, but and didgeridoo, which I really like because it's very grounding, connects us to the earth. Okay. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. My prayer is that you may receive exactly what you need from this practice at this time. Whatever that may be for you, may that be yours. So we're just going to begin, just arrive wherever you may be comfortable, and just begin to allow your whole being to just become present in this place and time. Like I said before, we tend to scatter our energy, and the mamos, in fact, have said that when you think of something, a part of you goes there. So when we think of someone, something, a part of us is there and leaves us. So we need ourselves, we need our presence. So we're just going to intend that we're going to call our energy back, call ourselves back to this time, this place. And I like to begin by just making connection to our physical body, to the earth of ourselves, because we tend to really abandon our body. And sometimes that's because of trauma. We don't feel safe to be in our body. Our body is wanting our presence. And it's through being present in our body that we can begin to heal and create more coherence. So we're just going to start by connecting with this body, and you can do it in whatever way feels right to you. I like to start just by massaging my scalp. Just massage your head a little bit. Just do whatever you do, really do it mindfully and consciously. Be aware that you're connecting with this physical form that is the house of your soul. You can massage your face. Whatever you do, just do it with awareness. We hold so much tension in our face. I do anyway. No need to hold up any face for anyone here. Let's feel and experience our original face. Just releasing any tension from the jaw, your neck. Again, this exercise is just to arrive in this body, right here, this body. I'm going to be here in my body. Feel your body. So we're going to rub our hands together and we're going to generate energy, warmth, and heat. Really become aware of how, with our intention, we can actually really feel this energy. We are not just a physical body. We also have subtle bodies. We have many bodies, actually. So rub your hands together with awareness. Love, 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 love. Try to feel love. Love is attention. Attention is love. Feel a sensation of your hands rubbing together. And you're just going to slowly pull your hands apart and just feel that energy. Feel that field. And allow yourself to feel that energy in the palms of your hand. We're just going to sweep our body. Just release any heavy energy, any areas of stuckness. Just release through your whole body 3 times. Just imagine that as you do this process, you're just sloughing off anything that feels heavy, dark. It may have a color, it may look like smoke, it may feel a texture. Just release that. And after you finish 3 times, just shake your hands. Release that. We're going to do that again. Rub your hands together. Feel that heat. Feel your own energy. And again, just feel that warmth between your hands. Now this time we're just going to cup our eyes. Just cover your eyes. Just rest your eyes. And breathe and rest. Feel your eyeballs just resting in the sockets. Feel the nourishment of the darkness. And now just imagine that through your hands, you're just offering a blessing, good energy to yourself. And then if you want, you can put your hands somewhere in your body or just rest your hands on your lap. We're just going to use our imagination to imagine that we're just clearing our energy field. So as I said, we're not just a physical body. We have an energy field. Sometimes this energy field gets a lot of static in it because we're picking up a lot of things from other people and from the world. So when we do practices like this, it's really good to clarify that field so that it's only our energy in it. Let go of any other energies that we may have picked up. We don't have to hold on to those things. So we're going to just breathe in, and when we breathe in, you're just going to imagine that any of the energies that aren't yours, that you're just isolating them. This is something I learned from my teacher, one of my teachers, Shakti Durga. Breathe in and you isolate anything that is not yours. And then when we exhale, you exhale and release that through your whole body. Just imagine that you're letting go of any energies that aren't yours. So breathe in. Just isolate anything that isn't yours. And then exhale, just release through your whole body. One more time, breathe in. Gather up all the energy that's not yours. And exhale through every cell. One last time, breathe in. Any thoughts, emotions, beliefs that aren't yours, exhale through your whole body. Last time. And just feel that you're sitting just within your own energy. You can imagine your own auric field or the space around you filled with light or filled with the color. Just feel that I am with myself. Feel a sense of coherence and wholeness that you have called the parts of yourself back here to the present time. Now we'll just make a connection to the earth. In Sanskrit, she's known as Bhu Devi, goddess, earth. Pachamama Gaia, this beautiful Mother Earth who's always supporting us. We can trust that she is always there, no matter what, she's supporting us. So feel your connection to her in whatever way feels right. It may just be noticing that your body is sitting on this earth somehow. Or you may even want to imagine that there's this beautiful grounding cord of some kind that's going from your body down into the core of the earth, the iron core. And as we breathe, the earth also breathes. When we breathe in, we can imagine that Mother Earth is expanding like our belly. And when we exhale, we can imagine that she's contracting, just breathing together. So just take a few breaths. You can extend your exhalation because that really helps to relax the nervous system more. Feel that you are a cosmic being who's connected to this entire universe. And these alignments of the solstice and equinox can be an opportunity to know yourself in a deeper way, to receive these frequencies and energies of light that only happen at these times. So let us just be open and give ourselves permission to receive the blessings. My teacher, Amma, always says that we need the permission of our own mind to be happy. So in order to receive the benefit of anything, like a ritual like this, we need our own permission. We have to give that permission to ourselves. So in whatever way feels right for you, you can just give that permission to yourself now, that you're open, that you're willing to experience a shift, that you're willing to feel blessings. Just that openness is all that we need. We're going to move on to the next step of the process now. So all you need to do is have your water nearby. You don't actually have to do anything with it. Just have the water there. And when I say, you can pick it up if you want to. Again, like I said before, you can make this ritual your own. You can do it all in your mind if you want. If you want to lie down and just go to sleep, you can do that. There's no rules. But I do recommend, if you really want to get the most out of it, to be as present as possible. So we're going to sing Om Namah Shivaya to ourselves and to the water. Om Namah Shivaya. And then sometimes I'll sing the Mahamrityunjaya mantra with that, which is a mantra for healing, different kinds of healing. It also removes our fear of death. So I may sing that at some point. So sorry. So the mantra is Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Om. Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Om Namah Shivaya. you can hold your water. If you don't want to hold it, you can just sense where it is in the room near you. Just become conscious of the water there. We're going to sing Om Namah Shivaya to the water. And as you sing, just imagine that the mantra is just filling every single molecule of this water, purifying the water of any imprints that may be in the water, cleansing and purifying through the pure vibration of the mantra. Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om. Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om. Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om. Om Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Now we're going to sing Om to our water. So if you want, you can just hold the water up. And we can all sing the sound of Om together and imagine that this water is filling with the sound of Om. Just intend it with your imagination. Our imagination is so powerful. One more time. Now let's imagine that the purification of water, the blessing of water, extends out from this glass to all the waters in the world. All the rivers, the oceans, all the lakes, all the swamps, all the glaciers and the icebergs, filling with the pure vibration of mantra. And as we sing the mantra to these bodies of water, we say thank you so much for all that water gives us every day. Thank you so much. Just imagine all the water is filling with the vibration of the sound. Every molecule, including the molecules of water in your own body. Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om. Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe, Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, Urvarukmiva Bandhana, Mrityunmukshimamrita. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe, Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, Urvarukmiva Bandhana, Mrityunmukshimamrita. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe, imagine that you're just purifying the waters in your own body. You're filling these waters with good thoughts, loving thoughts about yourself. Know your worth, know your goodness. You're deserving of love and kindness. Let that flow through all the waters of your body. Tenderness and softness, love and kindness. And let that light flow through all those waters. And you just sing Om to the waters in our own body. Om. Feel that this water in your cup is totally cleansed and purified. This water is like pure consciousness, like a blank piece of paper, a cup of light, a cup of consciousness. Breathe in, hold, and then release through your whole body. Exhale. Now, you're gonna hold your water. So just let yourself connect to this water. Let your consciousness really be in this water, be with this water. This water has arrived here for you today. So I always like to begin by offering an apology to water for the ways that we have mistreated it, abused it, misused it, not cared for it. Water is everything. Water is life. So we just need to say to the water, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The times that I have not acknowledged you, for the times that I've abused you, or haven't treated you with respect. I'm so, so sorry. And that includes the waters in my own being, my waters. I'm sorry for the ways that I've polluted you with hurtful thoughts, hurtful words. I don't want to pollute my waters anymore. I want my waters to be flowing like a beautiful, clear stream, clean and healthy. So I'm going to make that decision right now to care for the waters in my own body, and to care for the waters that take care of me. And with that, we can just say to those waters within and without, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for everything that you've given me. Now, feeling the gratitude in your heart, I want to invite you to just tune into your own heart and being. We're coming to the end of a year, a very difficult year for many people. What are the things that you want to let go of, that you want to offer to the earth? And what do you wish to carry forward? What do you really need and long for at this time, right now, as we approach this solstice time? What needs tending? What needs love? What qualities are you wanting to awaken more of in your life, in yourself? Maybe a word comes to mind. Maybe a phrase or an affirmation. Maybe just a feeling or an image of yourself happy and peaceful. What is your happiness, your fulfillment? What medicine would really help you right now? Just allow that to come into your consciousness in whatever way feels right. Not everybody is visual. You may feel it, you may have a sense, you may just intend something. There's no right way. And when you're ready, just imagine that you're transmitting and imprinting that prayer, that intention, that word or that quality or that image into this water, which awaits your prayer. Begin to see and sense this glass of consciousness being filled with positive energy, positive vibrations. Maybe it's become a cup of trust, a cup of love or confidence, a cup of peace. Feel and sense every molecule of this water being filled with whatever that is for you. And then once you really feel that, when you're ready, when you want to, you can slowly begin to drink the water. You don't have to drink it all at once. But when you drink that water, do it as a kind of meditation and feel those blessings becoming a part of you. Feel how that water becomes a part of you, becomes a part of your every cell, becomes a part of all the rivers of your body. I'm going to read this beautiful little poem to you. I shared it once before. It's so beautiful about water. Do not be hardened by the pain and cruelty of this world. Be strong enough to be gentle, to be soft and supple like running water, gracefully bending around sudden turns, lively waving in strong winds, freely flowing over sharp rocks, all the while quietly sculpting this hard world into ever deeper beauty, gently eroding rigid rock into silken sand, tenderly transforming human cruelty into human kindness. Remember, true strength is not found in the stone, but in the water that shapes the stone. True strength is not found in the stone, but in the water that shapes the stone. L.R. Knost, K-N-O-S-T. Let's take this moment to just let go of all that came before this moment and receive our own blessings and our own wishes for ourselves. The only thing that stands between receiving those wishes and prayers is our own mind, whether we allow it, become receptive, and give permission. May we all move into this new year and know our worth. Know that we are multidimensional beings who are connected to a vast web of life with an amazing intelligence. And we know that we're never alone. We're not isolated islands, but we're part of a whole unified field of consciousness. And as we raise our own consciousness and connect more to that love that lives within us, we help the whole field is affected. So feel and sense those waters of your body flowing with this beautiful, clear water blessings, purified by the vibration of the mantras. Know that you are loved and accepted in your darkness and your light. This world has both, cycling round and around. Our darkness, parts of ourselves that hurt, that we've pushed away, they just need love. They just need care. So may the winter solstice teach us that, to find the beauty in the darkness, to let ourselves rest and not feel like we have to push and force to become something different, but just to let it happen like the seed underground or the baby in the womb, just evolving in its own right time. Let's complete the process by dedicating all the goodness from this time to the whole world, to the earth, that all beings may receive the benefits from what we're doing together. So to do that, we chant the mantra Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, which means may all beings everywhere be happy and peaceful 9 times. Om. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha 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 sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Peace. Thank you. I just want to read this to you that I forgot to read you before, about darkness, that I think is so beautiful. So, whenever a meditator goes in, first he always encounters darkness, and that darkness is frightening. Who wants to go into that darkness? One becomes afraid. One wants to escape from it. So, what is to be done? You have to love this darkness. You have to fall into this darkness and disappear. Don't search for the light. The search for the light will keep you distant, unloving, unavailable to the darkness, and that will be a barrier to light. Don't search for light. If it is dark, let it be dark. Darkness has its own joy. Light has its own joy. And the person who understands will enjoy both. And she will not create any conflict. And she will not choose. Darkness has silence in it, which no light can ever have. Darkness has a stillness in it, which no light can ever have. And darkness has infinity. It knows no boundaries. Light has always boundaries to it. It is never infinite. It is finite. Light comes and goes. Darkness abides. Darkness is eternal. The dark night of the soul has the morning following just on the heels of it, just following like a shadow. Don't be too worried about the darkness. Don't become too obsessed by it. Otherwise, you will miss the morning that is following it and is just coming on the heels. So, as we touch that darkness, as we move towards that darkest day, we can trust and know that morning is just behind it. And let that be a teaching and a metaphor for our own lives at the times when we feel we're really hitting so much darkness and that we don't know or trust that the light will come. Let us remember these teachings from nature. Let us remember that morning and light is always following behind these difficult times when we can't see. Things are happening invisibly. Things are happening under the surface. Just trust. The seed, the baby in the womb, many examples to show us that life is happening, even when we don't see the changes. So that to me is a beautiful teaching of the winter solstice that I focus on right now. For whatever I'm going through in my own life, it's helpful. Maybe it's helpful for you too. Thank you so much for doing this ritual. You can drink your water, or you can share it. You can do this ritual anytime. It doesn't have to be drawn out. Sometimes I just leave a glass of water by my bed, and in the morning when I wake up, I'll just sit, and for a second, I'll just put a prayer into that water, or just intend like love into the water, and then just drink it. It doesn't really need to be complicated. It's just a way of connecting with water and letting your relationship to it change to something that's healing and that's sacred for you. And it's also a good way to learn to just become more receptive to blessings, because we may want them, but then there's a part of us often that's resisting it. It's like we want love, but then love is knocking on our door and we open the door and we just say, what are you doing here? Close the door. So let's do these practices so that we can be open. When love is there, we welcome that love. We know we're worthy of that love. We're deserving of that love. That would be my prayer, I guess, for myself moving into this new year, that I would know that, could embody that and sense that even more in my life. This course that I've been working on for 3 years, which will be done this next year, has really been teaching me so much about that. And I've had a lot to learn. So I look forward to sharing that with you in the new year. And this is my last program for 2021. And I really want to just say thank you so much to all of you. I am so grateful to you for everything. Thank you for coming to my live sessions. Thank you for listening to my music, for all of the comments when you listen to one of my tracks. I'm not always able to respond to everything, but I read them all and they mean so much to me. Thank you for your donations and for supporting my work. And thank you so much to the people in my circle, whether you're outspoken, present verbally or not. Thank you for being there. And to my beautiful beloved admins who help get that circle run, John, Josh, Pixie, Karen, and Ellen. There's so much selfless time and service to just constantly be sharing meditations and responding to people's desires. And I'm so appreciative to that. and to Insight Timer for everything, for creating this platform so that we can all gather from around the world. It's an amazing thing. When they first invited me to do these live sessions, which I guess was last September, I was actually kind of resistant to it. First of all, I was scared. I was like, I'm not going out there in front of all these people doing my, it's one thing if I'm like doing like a concert or something, a program, and I can like see the people. But here, there's a vulnerability because I'm just like in my space and I can't see any of you. And so it's a weird feeling. And I've gotten used to it, but it took some time to warm up to it. And I really felt at the beginning, like, I don't really know how this is going to go down because, can we really feel a sense of community and connection like through the ethers in this way? And I was skeptical about it, but I realized now that we can and we do, and we are all connected. For these moments in time that we come together, we are connected as a Sangha, as a community with a shared intention and heart to uplift our consciousness, to open our heart. And that is, to me, the most beautiful thing in the world. And so I thank you so much for just your attention, for being here for this much time, every time I do a live, and for your interest. And I just learned so much from you. And I've learned so much about myself doing these sessions, doing these practices. I just learned so much about how to go beyond what feels comfortable and how to embrace my imperfections more. Some lives are better than others, and it's just a good opportunity to just be out. It's not about a performance. It's about meeting one another in our hearts, in our humanity. So thank you for giving me that opportunity. And I just really want you to know how much I appreciate it and appreciate you. And I will be back next year and come up with some different live sessions to offer. But I think I may start next year with something, a deep rest program or something, just to help integrate this crazy time, transitions of holidays and New Year, to slow down, take a rest. So I wish you a really peaceful holiday season in whatever way you celebrate, and peaceful New Year. And may our whole world know that the morning is coming right behind this time of darkness. May we connect to that light on the heels of the darkness within ourselves and collectively, and learn to see the sacredness that's all around and with ourselves. So thank you so much. And I hope I'll see you again in the new year. Please feel free, if there's any ideas or subjects that you want me to consider exploring, you can always send me a message. And I think I will also be offering a few workshops next year, just as an experiment. I love doing these live sessions, and sometimes it's also tricky because people can come in and out at any time. And so in order to really go deep, it helps to be able to have a container of when we're there together for a certain amount of time. So I think I'm going to experiment with that too. So you're all welcome. All right, much love, and thank you. Thank you for your donations. Thank you for your presence. And you all really mean so much to me. And you're my teachers. So thank you. See you next year.